Hello, learners. Today we are going to be reading a mystery story together. And as we are reading, I am going to be pointing out the elements of a mystery. As you can see, I have sticky tabs on both sides of my story to remind me of exactly what I should be looking for when I'm reading a mystery. This is called the blackmailer. Here we go. I don't mind telling you, Detective Helegian, said Thomas Hunt, that inheriting millions has had its nerve-wracking moments. Do you remember Martin the gardener? A smiling little chap, said Detective Helegian, pouring his young friend a soda. That's the fellow. I fired Martin the gardener when I inherited the house in East Hampton. Well, 3 days ago, he came to this office, smirking and demanding $100,000. He claimed he was tending the spruce trees outside my father's study when Dad drew up another will, naming my uncle in New Zealand the sole heir. You believed him? I'm going to stop here and I'm going to go back and I'm going to highlight some information that I know is already in the story. So we have our detective right here. We have Thomas Hunt, who is the main character of the story. And we actually have one suspect, Martin the gardener. Why is he a suspect? He was fired. So he has a motive here for seeking money. Now, let's look at the setting. The setting of this story is the office where Thomas Hunt and Detective Helegian are currently meeting. And what is the problem of the story? The problem of the story is that it is claimed that Dad drew up another will naming Thomas's uncle the sole heir. So let's continue reading. I confess the news hit me like a thunderbolt. Dad and I had quarreled during the last week in November. Dad didn't like my new wife, Veronica. Dad said she only married me for my money. So it seemed possible that Dad didn't want me to get any of his money when he died. Martin said he had the only copy of Dad's second will. The second will was dated November 31st, the day after the first will was created. The second will would be legally recognized over the first one. Therefore, my uncle would get all of Dad's money. Martin wanted me to pay him off so that he would not give the second will to the police. He demanded $100,000 to destroy the second will. I refused to be blackmailed. He tried to bargain, asking $50,000 and then $25,000. You paid nothing, I hope, said Detective Helegian. I did not, replied Thomas. Quite right, approved Detective Helegian. So let's go through and see some other elements of mystery that have popped up. This is a red herring quarreling last week in November. That's just to make you think that Thomas and his father did not have a good relationship because Dad didn't like his new wife, Veronica. Now, Veronica also brings in a red herring because she could possibly be a suspect, but there isn't much more information. So right now, we're not going to consider her a suspect. Another clue here is that the gardener claims that he has the only copy of Dad's second will. Another clue here is the date of the will being November 31st. A final clue is that the gardener is seeking money to destroy the second will. So here are the elements of the story right here, all the elements of a mystery. Here is the beginning of the story right here. This is the introduction to the story. Here is your middle of the story. And here is the end of the story. So what is our problem? Our problem is that there is possibly a second will out there that would keep Thomas from inheriting the money. We know that Thomas should not have paid the money. Why? Because, and here it is, the big reveal, the will was dated November 31st. There are only 30 days in November. So out of all the clues, that is the one that solves the mystery that a second will does not exist.